Hello. I will have the weather update for you later, but I think it's very important that I make this video right now and not wasting any time doing it because we have to talk about the overreaction from the coronavirus again. And look, I know I'm going to get some hate for this. I don't honestly care, all right? Let's deal with the facts of coronavirus, all right? There is a 3% mortality rate, all right, which seems like a lot, but these are only the people that have gone into the hospital, to be hospitalized. I'm going to go over some coronavirus facts with you right now, all right? So we're going to look up coronavirus death rate, all right? All right, so the death toll from coronavirus, let's see if we can get here. All right, there have been 39 people in the United States and 1,016 deaths in Italy, all right? And this is despite the lockdown in Italy, which shows you the lockdown isn't working, all right? And yet I am terrified that there is going to be a lockdown here, all right? Now let's see what the coronavirus death toll in China has been. Let's see. Can't seem to. All right, so in China there have been. All right, this is the total right now of all the coronavirus cases. I don't know if this is just China. I think this is the whole world. So we have 134,521 reported cases, and of those cases, 4,970 deaths. And while one death is always too many, you could see that the amount of deaths compared to the reported cases, and we know that a lot more people have this virus and have not been tested, and it hasn't been confirmed that they have the virus, and there is mass panic going on across many parts of our society right now as a result of the hysteria from the media, the hysteria from our government, and the threats to interfere with our civil rights, and I don't take it lightly. All right, let me make one thing clear, all right? I'm an American, and as an American of the United States of America, I cherish our freedom, I cherish our liberty, and I know many men have died to protect that right, all right? The right to free assembly, the right to travel, the right to speak out, all right? And those rights are being curbed right now, all right, in the name of preventing the spread of this virus. But here's the thing. It's already too late. Many people already have the virus. Most people won't need to be hospitalized. Most people will get over it on their own. All right? There are going to be a certain segment of the population that is going to be hit very hard. The elderly, those with immunocompromised systems, and those people must be protected. All right? Let me make that clear. All right? Those people must be protected. And I think that, all the talk about testing, yes, the president and the United States government have failed to get enough testing in this country. Not only that, but the minute this outbreak happened in China, we should have shut down all of the borders. All right? It's too late now. He's saying he's banned travel from Europe. It's already too late. It's already too late. It's here. It's not going to do anything. All right? It's already here, and we're going to have to deal with it. And we have to deal with it by taking the proper precautions, protecting the most vulnerable at this time, places where there are hospitals and nursing homes, and places where there are vulnerable people. They cannot have visitors, and I totally understand that. The people that work there should all be tested for the coronavirus, all right? Because there could be people in there working there, carrying it. They may not have any symptoms. They may have minor symptoms, and they might pass it on to somebody in the nursing home, and they could die from it. But nobody has seemed to have brought that up. They just go willy-nilly, taking away our civil liberties, banning. Now they have government of New Jersey and New York, as well as Washington, have banned public assemblies over 500 people. All right, and people say, well, we're doing this for protection. And I sort of understand that. I mean, it's not a good idea to be in a big crowd. But here's the thing. Broadway has shut down. The Major League Baseball has postponed for 2 weeks. The NBA canceled their season. People are freaking out over this and just willy-nilly so willing to give up their civil liberties. And I saw this after September 11th, too, with people's rights, like people taking pictures being harassed. Like I said, I don't give up my civil rights without a fight, all right? And I'm not giving my civil right to free movement or to speak up or to free assembly, all right? That is in our Constitution, all right? All for a disease with a 3% mortality rate? I don't think so, all right? And I don't care how many dislikes I get on this video. You know what I mean? Some people are going to threaten to have the video taken down. This is my free speech. This is the United States of America. There are other diseases out there that are just as bad, if not worse. And let's talk about breast cancer here. Over 14,000 New York women have been diagnosed with breast cancer. And each year, 3,000 die. And my mom was one of those people. She lost her battle with breast cancer in 2000 after it reoccurred. All right, I lost my mom to breast cancer. Yet you never see the media coverage about breast cancer. And the heart, you know, there are many things out there that are killing people. Breast cancer is one of them. Yet the media is not talking about this because, again, you can't use breast cancer as a means to limit people's freedom now. All right? This is not what we need in this country. And this is why Trump was a huge failure last night. This is the other thing I'm going to rant about. First of all, he sounded sick. He didn't even sound all there. You know, he offered no reassurance to the American public that things were going to be all right. He offered no plan to really combat this other than his travel ban, which is not going to do a damn thing. All right? This president was elected on putting Americans first, and that is the last thing he did. He cared more about the stock market and international trade and open borders, even though he talked about closing borders down to protect Americans. He never actually did it. All right? And now what we have is a pandemic that has come to the shores of the United States. And this president hasn't done a damn thing to stop it. All right? He hasn't done, all he does is run his mouth. All he does is run his mouth about this. The seriousness is there are going to be a lot of people dying. That is the sad truth of this. But at the same time, we need to live our life. This is not Ebola. All right? This is not the bubonic plague. We need to go on with our lives. And why am I so upset? Because I was out today, and I went to our local supermarket here in Mineola, the Western Beef, which actually, it's run by different people, and it's much nicer now. But they had no water. The shelves were bare of water. It was complete madness. I'd never seen so many long lines in there, and I've been there before snowstorms, and I've never seen so many long lines. People are preparing like they're going to be trapped inside. It's like people are just willing to accept that they're going to be trapped inside for weeks on end. Let me tell you something. I can't be trapped inside for weeks on end. I will go crazy, all right? This is not the America I grew up in, all right? This is not the America that we are supposed to be acting like right now. What happens when something really bad comes? What happens when there's a major volcano eruption? What happens if Yellowstone erupts? That's going to be a whole lot worse. All right, there's no signs that Yellowstone is going to erupt. But there are so many worse things than this. And the way people are reacting toward this, if one of those really bad things happens, God help us. God help us. All right? This is a very bad virus for a select population. And yes, there is uncertainty. There have been a few people who looked otherwise healthy who have gotten hit hard by this virus. That can go for any virus. But the panic I'm seeing around, at least in my area on Long Island, is really scary, especially here in Nassau County. I saw my psychiatrist today. I was thinking about not going to avoid, but I said, you know what, I got to live my life. Unfortunately, he didn't seem to think that, he wasn't very reassuring. He acted like there might be a full shutdown of everything. I don't know how I'm going to get through that. I don't know if it's going to be shut down the whole country or the state. If there's a shutdown in the state, I'm getting the hell out of this state. Notice that all the states I named, New York, New Jersey, Washington, Oregon, California, they're all blue states. They're all Democrat states. All right? This is what the Democrat Party is. All right? I'm not going to say the word because I don't want you. We know what the Democratic Party has become. All right? Look, I'm not telling people to take this disease lightly. But think about most of the people will recover without hospitalization. There will be some people, particularly those who are immunocompromised and the seniors, that are going to get hit very hard by this. And they must be protected at all costs. It's possible that we may have to keep all of those people inside and away from contact with the outside. We may have to do that to protect them. All right? But the rest of us need to live our lives. And this has had a devastating look. I've spoken here in the past about Wall Street, all right? But this I wanted to see the market cool down because I felt it was just too hot. But now we're in an official recession. The stock market went down more than I've ever seen it go down. And honestly, this is terrifying. This is terrifying. All right? This is going to cause major damage to the economy. We're definitely probably going to be going into a recession. All right? Obviously I don't wish that on anyone. All right? I wanted it to cool off a little bit because I felt it was just a little too hot, too inflated, especially with the real estate. Now we may have a really big crash that's going to hurt a lot of people. And honestly, even though a certain demographic may have money and they may act the way they do, I really don't want them to suffer really badly. They could wind up suffering a lot. I don't wish that on anyone, even a certain demographic, all right? They're still people. They're still human beings, all right? Even though they may be working on Wall Street, they're still human beings, and they're going through a really rough time right now. And actually, they are probably, they probably feel this is an overreaction too. If they shut everything down, imagine how much more it's going to hurt the stock market. Imagine how much more it's going to hurt the economy. We will not stand for a shutdown in this country. Period. This is the United States of America. We're not going to stand for it. This is not Italy. Italy is a much smaller country. All right, and the media keeps airing. Well, you need to do what you need. The media keeps airing people in Italy. You need to do what we've done here. It hasn't helped. You still have thousands of deaths. It doesn't help. It doesn't help. All right, it doesn't help. And then all the people being quarantined against their will. That's another thing. All right. Cuomo is so big on protecting the health, and today he said on the news, it's going to get a lot worse. Again, trying to scare people. Bill de Blasio, it's going to get a lot worse. Even New Jersey, and Phil Murphy might have said some things similar to that. All right? That is not what people need to hear. What people need to hear is reassurance that we need to go on with our lives, but at the same time, all efforts must be made to protect the vulnerable. All right? I don't see how shutting down all these Broadway shows is going to help anyone. What I do think should happen is that those over the age of say 65, or those who have compromised immune systems, they should, if they have a ticket to one of these shows, they should be able to get a refund in full, because it's not a good idea for them to be around crowds right now. But for the rest of us, if we catch it, we're going to get sick, but it's not going to kill us. It's not going to put us into a hospital. All right, that's my opinion on it, obviously, but the panic going on doesn't help anyone. It doesn't help anyone, because now what's happening is, all right, I needed water. I can't find bottled water now, all right? I can't. The water where I live, I don't want to drink it. What am I going to do when I can't find any bottled water? All right? People are hoarding bottled water. Toilet paper. You can't find toilet paper. Cleaners, alcohol. You can't find anything. This is a panic. People are in a panic. And this is what I spoke about in the video that got taken down by YouTube, is that this is creating what I call an unnecessary panic that's not helping anyone. Because when most of the people that were hoarding the stuff that I saw in the store were young people. They weren't senior citizens. They were young people, like 30s, 40s. They didn't look immunocompromised. What about the people who really are going to need to stay in to protect themselves? You're denying them those supplies. So the president, getting back to him, he was a complete failure last night, obviously, failing to address anything really important. All right, what he should have said, he said, "I'm doing my best as president to help the most vulnerable in this country," and he can talk about certain things. All right, he needs to get more funding to the CDC instead of cutting it, so they can get the testing kits, so everyone working in healthcare can be tested. All right. Second, he should be saying there are reports of panicking, there are reports of fear-mongering, and they are completely unfounded. Yes, we need to take this disease seriously. This is what I would have said if I was him. But at the same time, we must go on with our lives. This is the United States of America. I will not allow free movement to be restricted. I will not allow freedom of assembly or the civil rights in this country to be restricted. And I will also not allow people to cause unnecessary panic, i.e. the media and certain government officials like our governor. All right. Now, if our governor, Cuomo, cares so much about protecting the health of people, How come when I was at Hicksville tonight, I saw all of this? All these homeless people. Looked like one guy actually urinated on the floor. There was a puddle of I don't know what beneath him, right? Nothing's done about that, Mr. Cuomo. What about the vectors of disease that these people are, all right? And what about their own health? A lot of them are immunocompromised. A lot of them are sick. Why aren't they being forced into quarantine to protect them and protect the health of others? That is right there that this governor is fully you-know-what. He is fully you-know-what, all right? No, I don't like Cuomo. Some people like Cuomo. That's fine. I don't like him. I have a right not to like him. I think he's a totalitarian, all right? And same goes for the reaction from Laura Curran and Steve Malone. They're all lining up to declare these health emergencies. And it's just scaring people. You are scaring people. It's not helping anyone. Not all of you. It's not helping anyone right now. What we need is to go on with our lives. At the same time, be vigilant against this disease. Think about those who are most vulnerable. If you are out there, and obviously if you are sick, you please need to stay home. Or at the very least, if you are sick, don't be around other people. All right? Maybe you can go outside and walk around, but don't come in close contact with anyone. All right? But for the rest of us, we need to live our lives here. This is destroying the economy. This is hurting Wall Street. All right? And look, all right? I know the president and everybody thinks the media has just been all over this with Wall Street. All right? And it has been terrible, but I'm more terrified of they don't talk about the people who are under quarantine. They don't talk about the threats to our civil liberties. They don't talk about any of that. I am. All right? And any attempts to have this video taken down or removed, I will file an appeal. All right? This time I will. All right? Because this is my freedom of speech. This is the United States of America. This is not the New World Order. This is not some other country. This is the United States of America. We have a constitution in this country. All right? And I know my rights under the Constitution. And I am not going to give them up without a fight, and neither should you. Period. All right? That's it. This is a horrible disease for some people, all right? But it's not going to kill everybody. It's not going to hospitalize everybody. But the major concern is the elderly and the vulnerable, and there are a lot of them out there, all right? And the concern is, let's say, there are going to be thousands and thousands of people that are going to be hospitalized from this. That is the sad reality. And there may be thousands that might die. But most people who are healthy will be able to get through this just fine. But those who aren't healthy, those who have immunocompromised systems, are going to suffer, and they need to be protected at all costs, all right? And, limiting, doing all these things is not, canceling all these parades and events is not going to help, all right? And talk of doing what they did in Italy, doing it here, it's great you're so willing to give up our freedom, right? Talk about we're protecting people from dying. What about all the men and some women that fought for this country and died? What about them? They fought for our Constitution. They fought for our right to be free, and you're so willy-nilly willing to give that up. And nobody in the media is saying that. Not even the president. Not even the president. How can this guy even be considered a conservative at this point? He is no conservative. He is a weakling. He is a weakling. He looked like a weakling last night. He didn't stand up for the Constitution. He didn't stand up for people. He only cares about Wall Street and trying to say whatever pleases Wall Street. But you know what? It didn't work. It didn't work. So, look, I know this is a bit of a rant, and I don't like doing these videos, but we are, this is like unprecedented that we are seeing this happening to our country right now, particularly in certain areas. Maybe, please comment below. Tell me what it's like by you. Are you seeing the same effects? Because I want to go somewhere where if I have to flee the state, I want to go somewhere where I'm not going to have to deal with this stuff, all right? And maybe there are parts of the country people aren't acting like this, and that's where I need to be at this point if it continues down this way. And let me tell you something. Nobody's coming in between me and the Pine Barrens, all right? Going to the Pine Barrens doesn't put anyone's health at risk. Going outside and walking around doesn't put anyone's health at risk, all right? However, if you are in a crowd, yes, all right, yes, you can put health, especially if you're sick, all right? But here's what I'm concerned about. Martial law. Everything's shut down. You're not allowed to leave your house, otherwise the police will arrest you, all right? This is going on in other parts of the world right now. Is this what we want in America? Over something with a 3% mortality rate? I don't think so. And each and every one of you that watched this video, please call your elected officials. Tell them that life must go on, all right? We cannot be stopped by this virus, all right? Life must go on. This is the United States of America. So thank you for watching. Take care. And may all of you please take care of yourself. Please wash your hands. All right? Don't touch your face when you're on the outside. All right? Before you eat, please, even if you've washed your hands in the bathroom, before you eat and pick up whatever piece of food you're picking up on the outside, make sure you're using alcohol sanitizer on your hands. All right? When you get home, first thing you do, take off your shoes. Don't walk around with your shoes out on the outside inside your home. Take them off. Wash your hands. And remember, when you're washing your hands, you should always wash your hands for at least 20 seconds with at least hot water, as hot as you can stand it. Soap and water is the best defense against this. All right? And if you are sick, and you're coughing, please stay home. Please, not just for you, but for the people around you. All right? I totally agree with that. All right? But at the same time, we cannot legislate. We cannot force the government to actually, control us. I mean, this is what the people want the government just to control everything. This is not the way things are supposed to work in the United States. Our founding fathers never wanted it to get like this. Let me tell you that right now. Think of them, all right? Think of them. Freedom is never free, all right? And I saw the same kind of paranoia after September 11th. And people willy-nilly defended, oh, well, sorry, you're taking pictures. You have, you're not allowed, if you're taking pictures, then you have a right to be stopped and detained just for taking pictures. And now people are defending this, lockdowns and all this other kind of stuff. We do need to live our lives. But at the same time, practice common sense and think about the most vulnerable. And honestly, the most vulnerable, like let's say you have family, all right? You have grandkids, all right? And they want to visit grandparents. Don't. All right? Kids are huge vectors for disease. And unfortunately, like I said, anyone who's elderly, in poor health, with a compromised immune system, needs to stay away from other people, stay away from large people. I'm not saying don't go out, but if you go out, you're going to have to go out and try to keep as much distance as possible between you and other people, all right? And avoid large crowds. And I know if you have to take public transportation, that's really hard. You're going to have to try to not take anything that's crowded, all right? My concern, of course, is that they shut down public transportation as well. We cannot afford to have this happen in the United States of America, not in New York, not in Nassau, not in Suffolk, not anywhere. This is not Italy. This is the United States of America, all right? And yes, this is a serious disease, but we need to think about our rights, all right, and not be so willing to give up our rights for a feeling of safety, because all of these, what's going on in Italy right now just gives a feeling of safety. The people are in their homes, oh, it's going to stop it. It's not, because the virus has already spread. The time to stop it was a long time ago. Now, unfortunately, it's too late, and it should have been. China. This came from a wet market in China. A wet market is basically have live animals. I think that these wet markets should be, they should be done away with, because they are very dangerous. They're a huge health risk. All right. And what should have happened the minute this came out is that there should have been anyone coming into the United States from the other countries should have been quarantined for 14 days and tested, all right, or tested, all right. But that was not that did not happen. We didn't do the testing. Italy didn't do the testing. All right, and that's why we're seeing what we're seeing, this mess that we're seeing. Versus in say South Korea, they did a lot of testing. Even China's done a lot of testing, but we haven't done the testing. One thing Cuomo's been right about, we have fallen way short on the testing, and we know who to blame for that, and that's our president. He put us at risk, and I'll tell you, he cannot hopefully there will be an election, but he cannot win again. This guy, I'm telling you, I'm disgusted with so many of these politicians right now. I really am. But anyway, thank you for hearing me out. Thank you for listening to this sort of rant. And I don't want anyone panicking out there. Please try to your best to live your life. I'm a little I'm a little upset and nervous because I'm worried that they're going to close things down and force us to stay inside. And that is not something I can do. Obviously, if you live somewhere that's not in the middle of an somewhat urbanized area, if you live out east in Suffolk County in say Maniville or Ridge, or you live in New Jersey's Pine Barrens, or you live somewhere else that's a more rural area, it's going to be much easier for you to deal with. But in a more urbanized setting, it's really scary when stuff like this happens. What can I say? So let's pray for America right now. And pray that they can do their best to protect the elderly without causing panic, right? Because panic doesn't save lives. Common sense saves lives. We know the facts in this disease, that it is most serious in the elderly and those with compromised immune systems, and we need to put all our resources in protecting them instead of causing all this mass panic, because it's not helping anyone. Take care, everybody. Thank you for watching.